So as you can see, the Olds is still here. I ended the last episode, well, you were here, you know how I ended it, with not all of the lights working on the dash. The signal indicators, the high beam, and then half of the speedometer. So I reached out to the owner of the car and I asked, I can't remember all I asked, but essentially what was working, this isn't working, and putting bulbs in it didn't help the problem, and essentially, what is your recollection? And he said the indicators were working. He couldn't remember, because the dash was so dim, whether the half of the speedometer was working. And he didn't remember if the high beam was working, but he did remember the indicators were working. So, and then he said something else. He said, it's just hard for me to, it's just hard for me to say, because it's something I should have thought of. I know better. But he said, well, maybe the flasher doesn't like the LED bulb. Maybe it likes the incandescent, and that's why it's not working. You remember, you know those times in your life where you kind of have to swallow your pride, you know? Hey, I'm the expert here, okay? I'll come up with the ideas. Maybe it's the incandescent, you know, maybe that's what it wants, you know. But I can't do that. This is real life. And real life says sometimes your stupid brain is not working properly. So what I'm gonna do is hope that he's right. And it makes sense. Also, side note, but also completely related, when I took the dash out, there was no bulb or socket in the, essentially, for the generator, the alternator circuit, you know, there wasn't any in there. There's a aftermarket gauge under the dash, but that gauge wasn't even hooked up, and it didn't have a illumination bulb in it, wasn't hooked up, it was there. I'm not sure the history, but I put a bulb in it and got that rewired because the wires were broken, but the gauge itself still isn't hooked up. So when I put, I didn't, so I broke an LED bulb when I was putting them in. So I put a incandescent bulb in that one because I had bought a new socket. I put an incandescent bulb in that one because I'm like, well, that's not an illumination bulb, so it doesn't really matter. And guess what? It's working. When I turn the key on, that light comes on, and then when you start the car, it goes out, like it's supposed to do. Well, that should have put the light bulb on in my mind, but it didn't. So anyway, hopefully I'm gonna eat crow. Hopefully I'm gonna have egg on my face. And hopefully I'm gonna put incandescent bulbs in there. I will reach painfully up in the dash to get my very large paws up in there, take the old ones out, replace them, put new ones in, and see if it works. So it's not really an update because I haven't done it yet. I just figured I would wait till you got here so you could, you know, laugh with me or at me. You know, whatever, it's fine. Okay, well, I'm gonna get to it and let's just see what happens. Some days, some weeks, you know, it was supposed to be a 3-hour tour and now I'm shipwrecked on an island, so. Well, hey there. I don't know why I always have to greet you every time. It's not like, where did you go? Have you ever watched the movie Groundhog Day? Bill Murray, you know? Every day. You think one of the days he's not gonna wake up, you know? I mean, he's gonna wake up, but he's not, you know, it's not gonna be the same day. Well, that's what's happening here. It's Groundhog Day. I am in the exact same place I was last week with the exact same car doing the exact same thing. I mean, if that's not Groundhog Day, I don't know what it is. I had hamburgers to eat last night. Maybe I'll have them to eat tonight too. That would, I mean, I could eat hamburgers every day. I love hamburgers. I love sandwiches. Hamburgers are a type of sandwich. I just love hamburgers. So, well, just come over here. I gotta show you what happened real quick, and then I gotta get to work removing the dash again. So, but let me show you why. All right, I'm gonna see if I can show this to you. Let me reach up here. Okay, it's right there. Okay, see if I can get it with this hand. Okay, so right here. Okay, yeah, you see that? That is the plug, the pigtail, that goes in the back of the circuit board. Well, you may not be able to see, but you can probably see if I hold still. There are some pins in the pigtail. They're not supposed to be. The pins are supposed to be in the back of the circuit board. That's where they belong. I showed you a picture of it. Here's another picture of what it should look like with the pins. So over time, those pins get weak. And, you know, with plugging it in and unplugging it and putting the dash in, they break. This is a thing that happens. It's not abnormal, but it's going to explain a couple of things. So when I put the dash in, when I took the old one out, this fuel gauge had been working. I looked back at pictures and I could see that it was sitting somewhere in the middle. Once I put the dash back together, it wasn't working. These turn signals were working and the high beam. So I replaced them with incandescent. I got this one to work. I got this one to work, but I didn't get this one to work. That's when I started feeling around back there, and I put pressure, you know, toward the circuit board on that plug, you know, to try to see if I get any lights to flicker on. And I did. I got a couple of lights that weren't working before to come on. So when I'd let my hand off, so that's when I reached up and unplugged it, because I thought, well, maybe some of those pins are just a little, not the pins, but the female side of the pins. Or you're looking at my hand talk. Hello. I'm an idiot. Anyway, you didn't have to agree, but I appreciate it. Affirmation is a cornerstone to good relationships. So, thank you. Anyway, long story short, pulled the plug out, just like I showed you, looked at it, and immediately saw I had some broken pins. So at some point in putting the dash in or plugging it in and then fitting the dash in, however, the 55 years of, or whatever. It's more than that, I guess. Should I do the math? People love videos of math. I mean, that doesn't put anyone to sleep. Over 50 years of circuit board rattling around, degrading, etc. The pins came out. So if it didn't happen to me this time, it would have probably happened, you know, just going down the road and all of a sudden random lights stop working. And then you start chasing it around because you think you have burnt bulbs, and then you discover it. You know, at least it happened now while it's in the shop. So yeah, you just, I don't know, go do something that you enjoy doing, okay? I'm going to take this dash out, which you've seen before. So you know, I'm just trying to save you boredom. It won't be boring for me, but it might be for you. So, all right then, I'll see you in a minute. Hi. You probably got whiplash there. Just, you know, we went from taking out the, you know, dash on Mellow Yellow to taking off the carburetor on the Dustang. And nothing else happened after that. So I just thought I'd, you know, interrupt my work with just an explanation. Okay, the explanation is this. It's very simple. I had to ship off the circuit board to a place that repairs it, put the pins back in place and all that. And while I was going, the store where you ship things, I just figured, let me pull this carb off because I need to ship it to the carburetor shop, a place that rebuilds and tunes carburetors. Now, rebuilding a carburetor can be simple. I have done it to decent effect. But if you really want something done right that will work, you take it to a specialist, a professional. And I happen to have a shop, and I don't know how many of these exist in the United States anymore, and it has a very appropriate name, the Carburetor Shop. And they, it's kind of a speed shop, whatever. Anyway, they can basically rebuild pretty much almost anything, even a 2-barrel carburetor off a 1967 289 Ford Mustang. So I send it up there. They'll make sure it's jetted right. Everything is perfect. So when I put it back on, the car will run perfectly, assuming everything else does too. So while I'm waiting for the circuit board to come back, which will probably be next week, I'm going to just do a few small things on the Mustang. I have purchased set of plug wires. I have not purchased, but found in the trunk, a set of vintage Autolite spark plugs. Nothing wrong with them. I love the old box though. I may be tempted to keep those, keep the old box, you know. And I'm going to put in these Autolites with new wires. And then the next plan after that is to find out where the fuel leak is. So my goal is when the carburetor comes back, hopefully in a week, I can pop it on and I can put fuel in the tank back there and start and run. Oh, I also forgot. What am I thinking? I bought upper and lower radiator hose because this lower radiator hose is allowing coolant to leak out of it. And they're kind of crispy. So I feel like this is something that I can do preemptively so that I can idle it and run it and I'm not chasing leaks. Hoses aren't that expensive, and if the owner ends up being able to drive this car after the brakes are also done, you don't want old hoses blowing apart. Probably these heater hoses will need it too, but you know, I might even get to that. I have some heater hose. We can pop on there if I need to. Which actually, this is very interesting. This heater hose runs through the firewall. I never noticed that before. You know, normally there's the core support, yeah, technical mumbo jumbo heater terminology, heater core. See, core was in there somewhere. I knew there was a core, I just had to come around to it. Okay, loading information into brain. Heater core, normally they have nipples that come out of the firewall, you know, and the heater hose goes on there. I'm just noticing on this particular one, the hose actually goes into the firewall and is attached somewhere behind the firewall, which is kind of weird. But if you are an owner of a '67 Mustang, and you probably know that. It's probably well-known knowledge. In my '68 that I had, I never messed around with that, so I never really paid attention to it. This is a non-AC car, so there's no AC paraphernalia. But these hoses, if you're going to replace them, you got to go up under the dash, I guess. So I'm probably going to kind of dive into that too, just in case I need to do it. So, but maybe I won't. We'll see. All right, enough of this stuff and nonsense, mostly the nonsense. I'm going to just start piddling away on this, and I'll let you know how it goes, because it goes somewhere. The story continues, and I don't even know the end of it. Neither of us do. So, alrighty, let's get after it. What is this thing anyway? That must be the engine. Right. It's the engine. Okay. Right, let's do something here. Hey, sorry, I was checking my tracking info to see if the circuit board got delivered, and also, let's see, did my carburetor get delivered? Just, you know, I want to know that they got there, that they're working on them. Probably not today, but you know, I'm impatient. Okay, well, that loads. Plugs and wires, you know, pretty self-explanatory, easy peasy. Those old wires were like super, well, they're in the garbage and they're dirty and I don't have my gloves on. You know, I'm a real mechanic. I never get my hands dirty. So anyway. What else? Oh yeah, drain the coolant, replace the upper and lower rad hose, and then kind of crawled around with a flashlight for a moment to see if I could locate anything that looked like a fuel leak to me. I think I might have found something. Why don't you come over here and I'll show you. Let's see. I don't know why it takes so long for this to load. Hang on. Oh, is it? No. Hey, it's delivered. Carburetor's delivered too. All right, come crawl around on the floor with me. Make sure you got your knee pads, and we'll take a look at this. As previously discussed, what was previously discussed? Oh, the fuel tank seems good. So if I can find out where the leak is, then I can put some fuel in the tank and we can kind of keep testing it out. So if you remember, this is where the line comes in to the fuel pump, and we've already determined in a previous episode visit that this is pumping fuel. So that's a good thing. So I decided to come over here, kind of trace it back. You can see here where it comes out of the firewall, you know, fender well, and heads that way. And then if we crawl, oh man, on the floor, you can see it comes this way, kind of winds its way through the spider webs, and then disappears there. And then it comes out here and keeps on going. Whoop, what was that? You think you saw a leak? Well, let's take a look. Well, let's see, what do we got? Oh, Well, you know, I think I'm gonna agree with you. Good eye, way to see this. I mean, that was pretty subtle. I mean, this hose is, I might be able to reuse it if I just snip it kind of in this area. Well, I mean, some of the hose is right there. That's hose. But anyway, it is a good opportunity to see the, you know, the strengthening aspect of a hose that has been revealed to us. So anyway, I'm just guessing. If we keep going this way, there's some hard line action going on there. And this hard line may have sprung leaks here and there too. I don't know. But this one seems to be the most egregious of the, you know, leaks. So I'm going to grab a length of hose, stick it in there. Okay. What you missed is me taking this off. Take a look at this. I have never seen, there's not even any inside of the hose here. This is just the fabric that goes inside of a hose. Never in my life. Have you ever seen that? Anyway, I just grabbed a piece of hose out of my scrap box hose bin, shoved it on there. Oh, look at this. This is an original hose clamp. I could have used that. I went all out. I splurged and put new clamps on here. But look at this, I could have used an original OE clamp. All right there, little fella. You just stay there. This is your car. You've been here that long, you may as well stay along for the ride. So, it looks like someone's replaced the floor on this. Not that that's a bad thing, I'm just, you know, I think this is an original Minnesota spec. Well, Minnesota history anyway. Okay. Well, what's the matter with you? Why are you doing that? Just please cooperate. Okay, yep. Okay, so I may just dump a little fuel in the tank and see if I turn over the engine, if it will pump fuel through this line, or if I have another leak somewhere. So, yeah, hang tight. Wonder if I should put this in my scrap. You never know. Okay. All right, so got a little filter on here. Oh, seriously, I always hold too many tools in my hand while I'm working. Okay. Smoky. Okay, we're just gonna. So now, theoretically, all of my fuel line is hooked up. I haven't had this thing on a lift. I may crawl under it real quick just to take a look at the lines that come out of the tank at the sending unit. But at least here, I've got a fuel filter that will protect my pump and carburetor. And then, yeah, we can see if we have any leaks anywhere. Okay. Oops. There you go. Okay, so I would say in equal measure, this hose needs to be replaced. And looking at the hose clamps on there, do you see that? This is an original hose. It has never been replaced. Wow. I don't even know how to process that. Yeah, so let's, before we get too excited, that thing is like a hard line. But it's not, it's made out of rubber. All right, I'm gonna have to get my little zip tool, zip these off, pull this off, cut that off. You know, I might just pull this sending unit, see what kind of story it tells me before I get too excited about dumping fuel in there. I don't know. You know, some things you leave well enough alone unless you have to. There is a seal here that would probably need to be replaced if I pulled that out. I am really curious though. Really curious. Curiosity killed the cat. So let's just replace that hose at least. You know, this also tells me that if this hose has never been replaced because of the way that it is, because of these clamps. Now, these clamps can't, you can buy, I have these, you can buy them, they crimp on. But most people, if they replace a gas tank or a sending unit or anything, will replace this hose and just put regular screw type clamps on. I'm guessing this tank's never been out. I don't know. You know, I'm just trying to do some archaeology here in my mind. It's really hard to fathom, but it's possible. I'm just saying it's possible. Okay. Okay. It's really the only way to get these off is to cut them off. This is like museum quality. Oh, didn't I get through this one all the way? Oh, I didn't. Oh. Well, okay then. It's kind of hard to get in there. Try that. I'll smell a burning 55-year-old rubber. Gotta love that. And you might be thinking, hey, why are you making sparks right next to an old gas tank? Well, just tell you something. There is nothing in this tank. It is dry. I mean, we're digging in. We're digging in like Egyptian mummy level tombage here. Okay, where'd it go? Can't find anything that I'm looking for when I'm looking for it. How come? I'm the one that put it there. I should know where it is. Okay. It's my favorite. Laying on the floor. Let's see if anything comes out and I'm wrong. Oh my gosh. Okay, another thing here, which you're not gonna be able to see, I don't think, but I'm gonna try to show it to you anyway. All right, let's see if you can see it. Can you see that? Look at how restricted that hose is. This hose has so swelled up, there is no hose left. It is just sucked down like, okay, I just want you guys to see this so you can actually believe what hoses do over time and why an old car, you might think, hey, how come it's not getting fuel? What's the matter? And then you look at a line like this, it's been on there since the car was brand new, allegedly. And you know, that's what you get. So, all right, let's finish taking this thing off of here. Okay. If I can. It's just gonna break. I should probably have brought a knife down here. Ow. Because I'm going to cut this off, I believe. This hose is basically just going to break off. but I'm gonna need to give it a little slice, I think. It's like we're freaking Indiana Jones here. I mean, he never had this much fun. Digging around in spider webs for old things. Sarcophagi. Is that a thing? Or is it sarcophagus? Look at that. Look at how clean that is. Thing has never been exposed to the ravages of time. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Yep, that's all we needed to do. So amazing. All right, well, let me go get a couple more clamps and a little length of hose here. Okay, yeah. All right, what do we got? Is this right? Oh, I think it is. I believe it is. Yeah, because it goes on just a little snug. That's what you want. Just a little tiny snug. And then cut this off. Just like that. Oops. Just kidding. I was just fooling you. See if you would say something. You know. Put the clamps on, Eric. Don't forget the clamps. I know. I was just joshing. I was just joshing you. It's all, you know, I'm a kidder. Just a kidder. All right. What do we think? What do we think about that? Hopefully I left enough on there. Hopefully I did. I'm kind of doubting myself now a little bit. You saw. Do you think I left enough on there? I can kind of feel it. I think it'll be okay. You know, I'm all about safety, so. Okay. Well, when it comes to sparks in my eyes and little shards of metal, I'm definitely about safety. Okay. Wow. I just feel like we did the right thing there. All right, let's see what else we got to do. Okay. Got a little piece of hose left that I can reuse into the box. All right, so I think what I'm going to attempt now is putting fuel in the tank. I have no carburetor on it, obviously. But if I can crank it over and I get fuel pumping out of here, then I feel pretty good about it, you know? And then I can let it sit overnight, see if I have any fuel leaks anywhere, or maybe not even sit overnight, maybe maybe immediately. So yeah, hang out. I'm gonna deal with this, get this situated, and then let you know what happened. So I've got a temp battery hooked up. I've got about 7 gallons of fuel in the tank. So far, so good. No leaks anywhere. But I doubt it's like trickling its way down the lines at this point. So I'm going to turn the key and see if I can get this to throw fuel up in here. I'm also going to take these out of here so they don't go whoop inside the motor as it tries to suck them in. And this won't try to start because there's no fuel, but I'm going to just disconnect the coil as well, just for the fun of it. So, let's see what happens here. Neutral. His transmission's a little loosey-goosey, so I'm going to say I'm in neutral. Okay. Let's see if I'm getting anything. No, not in there. I'm kind of wondering if I'm going to have to prime the system here. Oh, I also put a little bit of seafoam in there in the tank. I don't know what's in there, but let's see if it'll suck some up. If I have to, I can put my mouth on that and suck some up from the tank, but I'm really kind of hoping I don't have to. We'll give her a try. Okay, so I've got a little in that. Let's disconnect this line. Okay. Sure. Yep. It's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. So let's crank it again. See what happens. Okay. Oh, I've got fuel. I've got fuel up to the filter. Let's see if it'll pump it out to here. Okay. I've got fuel to here. It's not pumping it up though. I don't know why that is. Weird. Interesting. Ooh, that's filthy. I think that's coming from the pump itself. I'm spraying back through it. I have a feeling, looking at this, because I sprayed backwards through the line, that the diaphragm is toast on this. It did work initially, but when I spray back through here now, what I'm getting is black. It's black from the fuel pump. So that's not really a good sign. Not surprising for a car that sat this long to have a bad fuel pump. Not surprising. Thankfully, the fuel pump's right on the front of the engine. It's not that hard to change. I just have to order one up. So. Okay, I very disgustingly siphoned fuel or sucked on this hose, just put a longer hose on it, until I got clean fuel to the filter from the tank. So now I've hooked it back up and I'm gonna see if the motor spins fast enough for it to like pump. If it doesn't pump now, that tells me that the pump is for sure bad. I just wanted to make sure, instead of just throwing parts at it, you know. If it works, there's no need to replace it. So let's see what we got. Okay, I'm gonna say if I don't get, I have fuel here that's clean. I've just got nothing coming up. So I have a feeling that when we first started the car, an episode or two ago, we got what was left of the fuel pump, especially with that very black fluid coming out of the pump when I spray it backwards through it. I just think we, you know, kind of like those crispy fuel lines, I think the diaphragm just became too crispy. But I do have fuel, and it's clean, and it's coming from the tank, and it's full. So that's good news so far. It hasn't sucked any weird stuff through there. I don't have any leaks under the car. So I am going to get online, order a pump, and I've also got to order a gasket for the carburetor. So when it comes back, I can mount that back up, and we'll like put the pause button on this project until both of those things come. We'll throw the pump on, we'll throw the carburetor on, we'll rehook up this wire, and we'll see if this thing will run off the tank. And you know, then we can go to things like building engine heat, filling this with coolant, checking for leaks, making sure that the thermostat opens up, you know, so on and so forth. So on that bombshell, I think we're gonna call it quits this week. Whew, I gotta wash this gas out of my mouth. I wonder what beverage would be best for that. Let me think about it. Well, you know, it's fall. I don't know if you can tell by looking outside, but so I've got an Oktoberfest. That tastes better than gasoline. I should do commercials. Drink our product. It tastes better than gasoline. I've got a bunch of bugs on my window. So I poisoned my, you know, the casing here. And so when bugs come in, they're attracted to the window and then they die. And I don't end up really having to kill bugs in the house except the random fly, as you have seen several times. So it's been a little bit different of a week, I realize, this week. Maybe you didn't notice, but I felt it. I had some family in town, and I have family coming into town this following week, so I've been focusing on some more household projects, try to help out, get things done. So I haven't made as much headway as I would like to make on the projects. So, but that's okay. It's kind of the season, you know, you go October through December, and between holidays and events and things and get-togethers, it's disruptive. So, but I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's just disruptive. I'm a guy that likes routine, and things that disrupt it aren't bad. They're just, once it gets back to normal, I'm happy again. Not happy again. I feel like I'm just not saying it right. I am not unhappy when people are over. I like it. But I also like routine. So, wow, I am going to get in such big trouble. Just don't tell anyone, okay? What is there to tell? I clarified myself, so. It's like in the news when you can take anything anybody says, clip out a little part of it, and make a headline that says, something like, "Can you believe what this horrible person said?" Quote. And then, if you're not a curious person like I am, or a skeptical person like I am, you might just think that that's what they said. And they did, but that's not all that they said. So, they might have even said some worse things after that, or before that, or in context. Or that might not have even been what they were talking about at all. When it comes to news, now you might tune out if someone starts talking about news because you assume then they're talking about politics. But there you go. I'm not. I'm talking about, all of these 24-hour news, internet and television and cable. It's like they got to fill the time with something. If you turn them on, you'd think there were like 5 hurricanes a week, but it's really just the one. Or you might think this person or that person is really, really terrible because they've, said the same thing 50 times when no, they just said it the one time and actually you reported it incorrectly. So all that to say, when it comes to news, I grew up this way. I'm just a skeptic. I'm not a black helicopter conspiracy theorist skeptic. I'm just a healthy, of course, I'm speaking of myself, so that's how I'm going to describe myself. I just have a healthy distrust of, let's say, people and organizations and their ability to not have personal agendas. I have personal agendas. Personal agendas are fine. But if I tell you I don't have one, when I really do, then I'm lying to you. And then everything that I say is also lying to you. So anyway, I don't know how I got off on that, okay? Let's just pretend we didn't have that conversation. Cheers, happy fall. I don't know if it's officially fall, but happy fall. The weather's cool here. And next week, I hope I get the carburetor and circuit board back. If I don't, I don't. But that's what I hope I get back. So in the meantime, thanks for hanging out. Love to have you with me. And yeah, if you want to, show up next week and maybe we'll do nothing. It's the holidays after all, so. But I doubt it. We'll probably do something.